Hey guys, have you ever wondered if penguins, those adorable tuxedo birds, have their own religion? Spoiler
Although
alert,
Tacitus
they
in
probably
Germania,
don't
chapter
pray to a
9,
giant
tells
fish
us the
god.
Germans,
But that's
however,
hilarious,
do not
imagine.
consider it consistent
There's
with
something
the
even
grandeur
cooler
of
going on
celestial
with these
beings to
feathered friends.
confine the gods within walls, or
Penguins
to
live in
liken them
huge
to the form of
colonies,
any human
super social.
countenance. They
But some
consecrate
penguins,
woods and
the
groves,
emperors
and they apply
especially,
the names of
do
deities
this
to
crazy
the
thing.
abstraction which they
They
see
huddle
only
together
in
for
spiritual
months in the
worship.
freezing cold,
It is also true
barely
that in many
moving.
books of old we find the description
Is it
of
some
the
kind of
temple
penguin
of
ritual?
Uppsala, statues
Nope.
of Thor, Odin and
Scientists
Frey,
think
of
it's
people
actually
accused
a
of keeping
survival
a
tactic.
carved image of Thor in
By
their
huddling
purse
close,
and taking it out
penguins
to
share
worship
body
in
heat
secret,
in the brutal
of people
Antarctic
keeping
winter.
a small silver
The
image
ones
of
in the middle
Frey
get
that they
toasty,
carried
and
with
the outer
them,
penguins
of
rotate in
temple
for warmth.
pillars carved with gods
It's
which
basically
seem to
a
have
giant
been
penguin cuddle
regarded
puddle
as
for
not
survival.
being entirely lifeless.
But here's the
of
weird
a
part.
giant
The
statue of Thor
penguins
that
take
gets
turns being the
fed with
sacrificial
bread and
lamb
meat
on the
of the
outside.
Aska pendant,
They
which
endure the
might be a
coldest
devotional
blasts to keep
amulet
the group
picturing either
Is there
Freya
some
or
unspoken
Frigg.
penguin
You see,
code of
the
honor
altar
at
is
play?
the representation of
Maybe.
the personal relationship we have with
But here's the
gods.
weird part.
And some people
The
do
penguins
choose to
take
place
turns
statues
being
of
the
the gods
sacrificial
on
lamb
it.
on
But
the outside.
sometimes all those
They endure the
statues,
coldest
tools,
blasts to keep the
objects
group
seem to look
warm.
at us from our altars
Is there
like
some
empty
unspoken
shells, and it is
penguin code
difficult
of
to
honor
even
at
feel
play?
they can be representative of the god, goddess we are trying to worship. I have always thought the whole point of statues is focus. Handling a magical item like a god, goddess statue is not enough to give that item a sense that something is extraordinary about it. A statue or a tool is not the deity in itself. It is the focus on the power of the god or tool expanding out of it to you, and it is your focus expanding from you back to the god or tool. Reality is like every tool in sorcery. Also statues and figurines of the gods need us to form a bond with them before their magical properties can be used in the worshipping of the gods. We often invest huge amounts of money on altar statues and figurines, and we end up with a lot of statuary. But once they're there, they become empty embellishments, and we forget magic and witchcraft are an active craft aiming at sensing and shaping the subtle. We forget that pretty much everything in sorcery needs attunement and activation, where these statues become what they are meant to be, conduits of energy. The attunement is the physical time of rest you are going to spend with the item in order to feel its properties and gain an intuitive understanding of how to activate any magical properties of the item itself. The activation instead is the charging process, a process in which we seal the sorcery into the statue or tool. In the charging process, the statue gets smeared with the main elements the statue is representative of. These elements, I call them fragments, and they allow you to seal the sorcery into the statue or tool. Sealing is a skill skill that I consider the very foundation of Norse sorcery. For example, in my very little array of Norse and Sami statues, among others, I treasure an old reindeer figurine adopted from a flea market in Finnmark, which is representative of the Gabba, the great white reindeer spirit, and a statue of Frøy, which is a replica of the Rellinge statuette, discovered in Sweden in 1904 and dated from the Viking Age around the 11th century. I regularly charge these items with the elements they are representative of. I smear the tin reindeer statue with Icelandic moss and soil from the Vidda, the tundra, for example, and the statue of Frøy with antler powder or juniper. Once the elements have activated the vessel and sealed the sorcery into the vessel, you will need to add fuel to it, and that is what gives it its power. The more valuable the fuel, whether it is blood, body fluids, the more powerful the vessel of worship. My favorite form of fuel is sound. I would use the sound of bells or the sound of my reindeer skin drum to fuel my reindeer tin statue, or antler clicks to fuel Frøy statue. In doing so, you are not activating the Gabba or Frøy, you are activating the vessel to behave as a conduit of energy and a sacred place of focus. As long as you keep your sorcery active and alive, magic will pulsate within and without you in the tools and vessels you choose to accompany you on your path. We are more powerful than we can comprehend, and this is a big responsibility. You see, in an era where the Viking, the Norse, the Sami past have been popularized in all sorts of possible and impossible contexts, it is not about heading out to worship a rock or what tools, statues, objects, clothes you are taking to that rock. It is all about how long have you been on that rock.
So, do penguins have a religion? Probably not in the way we think, but their social behavior and complex teamwork are pretty darn amazing. What do you think? Leave your craziest penguin theories in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more wild animal behavior dives. And hey, maybe someday we'll discover a secret penguin temple under the ice. Rahasya, Rahasha, mystery in Hindi for a global touch.